This lesson is going to show you how to schedule your EC2 instances to start and stop automatically at certain times of the day when you're not using them. For dev and test instances that you don't need all the time, this is a simple, easy setup that will save you hundreds of dollars a month. So let's take a look at our instances. We've got our dev instance running. We want to add a tag to it that lets our Lambda function know it's one that should automatically be started and stopped. So in the tags, we have our tag auto stop equal true. If you don't, or for the first time when you're setting this up, you'll just add a new tag that has auto stop equal true, save, and then we'll go over to Lambda and create a function that will start and stop the instance based on the information you send into it. So we'll go to Lambda, we'll create a function, we'll call this function stop instances. We'll change this to Python. This code that I'm about to show you, I'll include in the resources link so you can have that to download and use on your own. Our execution role, let's create a new role with basic Lambda permissions, meaning it'll be able to execute this Lambda function. We'll add the EC2 permissions in a minute. I'll show you that, but right now we'll just have it create the basic Lambda permissions for us. So let's go ahead and create the function. It's created. Let's look at our test or our code. I have deployed this earlier, so it's telling me that I've got different version of it, so that's fine. We don't need any of the getting started. Now, let's grab our code. And again, this will be available to you as a resource for this lesson. So be looking for that. And basically, this just says we're going out to EC2. We're looking for the tag auto stop and the value equal true. And that gives us a list of EC2 instances we're working with. We'll get an array of IDs for those instances. And if our action that we input into this Lambda function is stop, it stops those instances. If it's start, it starts those instances. If it didn't find any, it says didn't find any matching instances. So let's go into our configuration. Our timeout is 3 seconds by default, and that's not going to be long enough. So let's edit that timeout to 1 minute to give it time to do its work. And we're going to create, or we're going to use the existing role it created. And let's take a look at that so we can make sure it has the permissions we need. Right now, it only has the Lambda permissions, so we're going to add an inline policy that lets us manage EC2 instances in our account. So we're going to switch to JSON. I'm also going to include this policy as well in the resources for you, so you'll be able to use it in your code. And basically, this says allow us to start and stop instances in our specified region and account. So if you're working in East 1, you would change this to US East -1 and then add your account ID in here and let it work on any instance in East 1 for your account. So this will be your value. Say your account was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You would enter that into your account. My account, I'll put in here, so this will work for us. And basically for filtering, it's got the EC2 describe instances and describe tags action included in this policy. So we'll do next. We'll create a name for the policy. EC2 start and stop. That's created. So now our role should be able to do everything we need it to do. So we'll go back to our basic settings for the Lambda function. We'll save it. We've got a 1-minute timeout. We've got our code applied. We see our instance is running. We will set up a test method or a test event to stop the instance. So we need to deploy the code first. So we will do that. Now we'll set up our test methods and we will create a new event. Let's say stop instances. And we won't be using that template. We just want to say action stop. Stop. We'll save that test event. And we're going to create one for start as well. Come down here and say start. Save. So now we'll switch to our stop instances event. Again, our EC2 instance is running. Just refresh to show, yep, it's still running. Now we're going to test the event. Cold start takes it a moment to come up. It says it's happy. Let's take a look at the instances, refresh, and you'll see that it's stopping. After a minute, we'll have this instance fully stopped, and then we will test the start event. So one more refresh, and the instance is stopped. So let's switch back, and we're going to test the start instances action. Says it ran. Let's check the instance status. And it's running. It's doing its status checks, which will take just a second to complete. Basically, it's making sure it's healthy. And a refresh. Still initializing. One more check. Still initializing. And finally, Our checks have passed and we're good to go. So we know our Lambda function works, and we have a nice little light switch that would let us turn off all instances that we had tagged with the auto stop or auto stop tag equals true. So now we want this to be a set it and forget it type situation. So we want to set up an EventBridge trigger that runs at 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. every day. So 7 p.m. it'll shut everything off, and 7 a.m. it'll turn everything back on. So let's go over to EventBridge. And we're going to set up our EventBridge trigger to run on a cron schedule. So we'll go to schedules, and we're going to create a schedule. We're going to call this turn on test dev instances. Okay. It's going to be a recurring schedule, and we're going to enter our cron parameters. Every 0 minutes, our hour that we want these to run. So I've got my time zone set, and I want this to run every day at the specified time. So this is 7. We want this to run any day of the month, any month of the year, any day of the week, and every year. So these are examples of when it will trigger. We don't want a flexible time window. You can set up your daylight savings options here. I'm just going to leave that alone for now, and we will move on to the next. Flexible time window off. Sorry. Next. We want it to trigger our Lambda function. So we'll select our stop instances, and we'll add our body. And this is turning them on. Next. We don't need any action after completion. We don't need a dead letter queue. It's going to create permissions to perform this action. So we'll just let it do that. Review all of the items here. We'll create our schedule. And that's good to go. Let's go back to our schedules and to our turn off, the one that actually saves us money. It's recurring, American Chicago Central Time, 0 minutes, 19 hours, so 7 p.m. Any day of the month, any month of the year, any weekday, and every year. So no flexibility in the time window. We're not going to worry about daylight savings time for now. Next, Lambda. The function we want is stop. And our action is stop. Next, no action after the schedule completion. Everything, it's going to create its own permission set for this. We could have used the previous one, but I'm just going to let it create one here. This is our review. And we'll create this schedule. And we're set. So we'll go back to our schedules and we'll see both of our schedules out here ready to go. And that's it. Now you have an automatic lights on, lights off setup for your EC2 instances. That way, when you are offline, you don't have to worry about them running and running up your bill with AWS. They'll automatically shut off when you're not using them and turn back on, so they'll be ready to go for you every morning.